Hi guys, it's Andy from northwestsnagsurveys.com, just down here. You know the score by now. I'm just going to go through a couple of issues after the budget. You probably had a bit of time to go through it yourself and things to sink in. But from housing point of view and how this is all going to affect your new build, if you're planning on buying one over the next couple of months, this year, next year, whenever. All these items that come up in the budget are going to affect the quality of the build. You'll have to forgive me because I've just got some notes down here that I want to go through. So we had the budget. There was a lot of things that were mentioned in it, some good, some bad. So what I've done is I've taken the ones relevant to housing, new build, and just trying to do a bit of a summary, really. So you're aware of what's happening and you can make an informed decision then. So basically, the government's announced a couple of things, and what they're going to do. We're still going on about this 1.5 million, although that did change. It went to 1.3, but we'll worry about that as and when, if it actually happens. So what's going to happen with rush builds? The Chancellor said, Rachel, that she's going to put £2 billion is earmarked for the house building industry, and she's going to push developers to hit very ambitious targets. And history tells us that when you speed things up, corners are cut, and the end result is the quality suffers. So developers are going to be on an awful lot of pressure to get this right. Also, there's planning reforms coming as well. So planning departments are going to be under quite a lot of pressure to push things through as well. And we've seen this before with the Help to Buy scheme for first-time buyers, just to get them onto the ladder. And what in effect, it'll put pressure on the builders to churn out homes quickly. And again, another rush to get them over the line, get them complete. And just make sure that the planning side of things, it's going to go quite smooth, or so they think. They're going to start putting pressure on planning departments, and that's going to open the floodgates for poorly thought out developments. So you might have a development, a green belt somewhere out in the country, and I don't know, I'd say 200-300 houses, new builds, but there's no infrastructure as well. That's going to suffer. So for you to build this little mini town, you've also got to have shops, doctors, surgery, roads, infrastructure, drainage. You can't just set this, development up in the middle of nowhere and not have any, even bus routes to it, anything essential that you actually, need to get to and from schools. The list is endless. So the planning really is going to, there's going to be a lot that will need to go into that. There's going to be, less oversight to it, and we're likely to see more construction defects slipping through the cracks on this as well. Skills shortage, it's always going to be a problem, and it always will be a problem. Again, there's what she did say was she's going to put 150 million pounds into training people up, and it's quite a big investment, but I actually don't think it's enough investment. It's probably a drop in the ocean, because the industry, it continues to struggle with unskilled and overstretched labour force, especially at the lower end of the sites as well, and directly that will affect your build quality. And bearing in mind, these new colleges that are going to be set up, they're not even built yet. They could be 3 to 5 years in the plan and in the building to actually get it across the line, set them all up, and then we need people, youngsters who are willing to come into the industry, which, and I don't blame some of them, because, there's easier ways to make money than go into construction. So why would you be getting up at the crack of dawn, 5 o'clock in the morning, traveling an hour to work on a middle of February with snow, frost, rain, cold, dark? Not really selling it, am I? But that's reality. I've been there, done a t-shirt, so I know what it's about. And then you're putting a 10, 12 hour shift in, and then coming back another hour traveling, all that. And that's 5 days a week, if not six, if the work's there and your boss is, trying to get you to do some overtime. So it's not ideal. So again, you'll have all these fantastic colleges all built, but bums on seats. Where's that coming from? Who's gonna who they're gonna get in? And that's another big question. So there's the skills shortage for me, and obviously with the CSCS thing, the way they've cocked all that up as well. I just struggle. I struggle with that bit as to where we're getting all these people from to build these houses. Still, sure, you can do all your planning, you can force it through. You still need boots on the ground. You still need bodies to actually go and build these. You need your brickies. You need all your trade sparks, joiners, ground workers. You need all them to get the project up and running and out the ground. Going on from that, if we actually got people into the game, and this is where the snag survey comes in handy, because again we're all under pressure. And what really could you expect? The real cost of defects. I mean, even going from starting off at the roof, you've got leaky roof valleys. This can cause a lot of damage. You could be talking £4,000 or £5,000 worth of damage to timbers, to internal finishes as well. Again, something simple like mastic sealing around windows as well. Cost wise, £1,100 to sort the problem out. And damage that the water ingress is going to do to internal fixtures and fittings. Structural movement due to rushed groundworks. Now that's quite a big one. And it's a scary one as well, because the pressure will be on the ground workers to put the foundations in, get the drainage in. Drainage mightn't necessarily always be right. You could have leaks, blockages further down the line, but probably more importantly is getting the foundation right. And everybody on that site is going to be under an awful lot of pressure, from the inspectors to the site management team, to make sure the ground workers are working to the drawings, and that it's inspected properly as well. So that's a big one. And you could something simple that maybe 5-10 years down the line could need a bit of underpinning. Well, now something for just a remedial job, you're probably talking about £5,000. So if you have to underpin, a gable end or whatever, it's going to run into £10,000-15,000. So again, it's all about just having it checked and making sure these things are right, and inspections are being carried out. Mold and damp is another big issue, really. Again, if there's no insulation in the cavity wall, and that's being found on surveys as well. We can put a bowl scope down and we can check the cavity and just find out if there is any insulation. And you'd be surprised how many times this is actually missed. But again, that will cause issues with damp and mold along the line. And you'll know probably within 6 to 12 months from you moving in, you'll start to see damp patches, the usual places, top of skirting boards, in the corners. Because and another little test yourself, you might have your heating on in the house, and it's quite warm, quite toasty, but you'll touch the wall and it'll be cold. It'll even feel damp. And that's always a good indicator of no insulation in the cavity wall. So yeah, there's a lot of things. The budget was. Now, I'm not going to get into politics of it all. I just operate on the facts. I work on what we've been told and what money's going to be spent. Do I think it's enough personally? Probably not. Um, but I did have to laugh because these colleges and academies and all that have got to be built. Who's going to build them? We can't even get the houses built. This is why we need the academies. So it's like a chicken and egg situation. How has that even come about? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, when that was mentioned, I did chuckle to myself and think, wow, that's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Anyway, and again, going back to bums on seats, we may well have to go back to getting people in from Eastern Europe, or further afield, you know, and we will have to train them up in these academies, colleges. I'm sure there'll be more red tape there. They'll need another certificate, a CSCS, uh, whatever card. So the list is endless. We don't make it easy in this country, to build. It's red tape and red tape. I do think that will get worse over time. I know, they're trying to make headways in it and streamline it. But for them reasons that I mentioned before, it's not always easy to do that. And plus, if they're going to start pushing all this planning through as well, they're going to need more planners. Now, another comment that was made, and we know she's going to do it, is get rid of a good portion of the civil service. So when you're talking about civil service, local government, building control, planning departments, these are the civil service. So in one hand, she's saying, well, we need all these colleges and all the rest of it, and planning, we'll streamline it, we'll make it easier, but they haven't got the people. You can talk the talk, but it's all about walking the walk. And I don't think she's got good, strong boots on. We can all pluck figures out the air and say we're going to do this and it's all going to be wonderful. But from someone who's actually been in the game, and over the last 25, 30 years now, I've seen how hard and how difficult it's got. It was easier back in the day, of course it was, and we're still here. We've still got houses that are built and still standing. The standards, because people back then, I believe the tradesmen that we had back then took more pride in the job. Yes, we had quality control, but it wasn't. The quality control now is I believe more just of a tick list. It's more, and I shouldn't say it, but I know a lot of site managers do the tick list sat in their office with a nice cup of tea because it's too cold to go outside, and they go tick 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 tick. Anyway, instead of actually going out and physically, But I never said that. Not all do it, by the way. Not all do it. And hence, coming back to my frustration of why I've set Northwest snagsurveys.com down there, why I've set it up, because I want you, the customer, to, buy something that is worth the money you've spent on. It's a lot of money. House prices are going up, especially Northwest. Actually, believe it or not, over the next year or so, house prices in the Northwest, they say are going to go up 22.5%, thereabouts. Don't quote me on them figures, but it is in the 20s. So 20% on what they are now, and you're getting a new build. So, you need it to be right. And that's where we come in and we do the full snag survey, top to bottom. Every little nook and cranny were there, and put it into a comprehensive report. And this report can then go to your developer. You just send it on to them. And you've got 2 years from the date of moving in, completion date, to send that report off, for them to come back. Oh, they won't take 2 years, but you've got a 2-year time frame. and then they're obliged to come back and put all these snags right. And that'll be free of charge. You won't pay anything for it. So just be aware of that. Anyway, not going to waffle on too much. Have a great day. Have a good weekend. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye for now.